In this edition of 2020 Daily Trail Markers, former Congressman Beto O'Rourke spent the day discussing the homelessness crisis in Los Angeles. The presidential hopeful toured Skid Row. That's an area of the city known for its homeless population. He also met with a group of women about the challenges faced by homeless individuals and poverty-stricken children. CBS News 2020 campaign reporter Tim Perry joins me now from Los Angeles. Tim, thank you so much for being with us. So you had an opportunity to ask Beto O'Rourke about who it is that will help shape a conversation about this issue of homelessness in an O'Rourke administration. What is it that he told you about that?
Hi, thank you, Elaine, for having me. Former Texas Congressman Beto O'Rourke was very adamant today that he would love, or he would even welcome the idea of having someone who's experienced homelessness as someone who's sitting at the table helping to shape some of those, laws or conversations that are being held on the issue. He was asked by a lady today at one of the roundtables that he held that was aimed at directly addressing homelessness, an issue that's of critical concern here in California. And she said, we need to be there to help create some of these laws. And Beto acknowledges that having someone who's lived on the streets could help bring some of the empathy and some of the concerns and some of the knowledge that people who have never had those experiences could bring to the table as well.
And Tim, is it clear on the timing of this? Why is Beto O'Rourke choosing to focus on this particular issue right now in California?
Well, I can tell you this, Elaine. The issue of homelessness is a problem that is very big. It's a huge concern for everyone in LA. It is getting to be a little out of control, as someone mentioned to me today. Mm-hmm. And so he had this meeting today in Skid Row, which is historically known for having a lot of homeless residents, people living in tents on the street. And he went there today. He wasn't the first candidate to come here. Senator Bernie Sanders was actually here earlier in the summer. But this is keeping up with the type of campaign that he wants to run, going places that most candidates don't typically go. And so, yes, a women's homeless shelter is right up the alley for the type of event that Beto O'Rourke would probably have today at this stage of the campaign. And not to mention, President Donald Trump is also here in the state. He's here fundraising. So what better optic can you have to have a sitting president that's fundraising right now for a re-election campaign and having someone who's trying to gain momentum in the polls meeting with some of the homeless residents of the city?
Now, and I'm curious, Tim, did that come up? Did President Trump come up during either the roundtable or in the gaggle afterwards with reporters?
Yes, briefly. Beto O'Rourke kind of hit the president for reports that the president wants to start rounding up some of the homeless people living on the streets and sending them to warehouses or places away from, just to keep them out of sight from some of the locals in the area. And O'Rourke thinks that's the complete wrong approach. He wants to have the poor people living amongst rich people. He wants people he doesn't want to ghettoize this problem. He wants to make it so that the stigma is gone and so that people can live, where they want. And so for some of the people who are, in poverty but do have houses, he wants to invest in affordable housing all around the city so that you're not putting the poorest people in small sections of the city.
Yeah, we know it's a problem that affects so many communities across the United States. Tim Perry for us in California. Tim, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.